Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Adams Rite number 4431-09S-05-IB. That's what is in this box, and let's go over it now. Take a tour of the components of the lock. And that long part number is actually quite crucial to be able to derive. It's not crucial that you necessarily need to learn how to derive at it, but it's necessary that we together arrive at it so that we can order you either the proper replacement parts or the proper new lock for either a full replacement or new construction. So, starting with the exterior, you're going to have the outside discussion and part and parcel of this long part number, which we'll dissect later, specifically means all of the components that are included with this particular lock. That means that this is going to have an exterior discussion that will be plastic, and that plastic is black. Will feature a cylinder and a Schlage C original 5-pin keyway. Just a Schlage C 5-pin keyway. They're look-alike original key blanks. Okay. Got that lazy style tailpiece on the back, which we'll discuss more in a moment. 2 keys, exterior discussion with the cylinder. You will have, moving through the door, the lock body. This is the 09S part of the part number. That specifically means that you have a radiused treatment to the top and bottom of the face, and that it is in stainless steel. Okay, laminated bolt for securing everything. Then, finally, the interior operator. Yep. Because it's a key function, you're going to be able to lock and unlock it by sliding the knob up and down, and as that sheet metal travels up and down, it operates the lock. It will manipulate the cylinder tailpiece. It will lock, latch, or unlatch the bolt via this tailpiece. Okay, again, plastic and in black finish. Now, we've reviewed this lock in particular. Screws, of course, screws to go through the inside body, and then the 2 small machine screws for holding the lock body into the edge of the door. That's the final component, other than installation instructions that will be included with the paperwork. Now, there is below this video a defined description that allows us to dissect the part number. And let's review that. This part number is defined in that portion of the extended description and identifies each section of it individually. So the 4431, as we had discussed earlier, is with an exterior cylinder. The 09S means that you've got a radiused corner and that it's in stainless steel lock body. Well, the edge of the plate is stainless steel. The components that the body is made of are not going to be stainless, but that face will be. The 05 in the part number means that the door thickness is somewhere between 1 3/8 and 1 5/8. And that's crucial because you have to know the thickness of the door. It's one of the things, which we'll get to in a moment when we further dissect the part number, that must be determined before ordering either a part of the lock or the entire lock. The 01 simply means that the lock is keyed different. We'll talk more about that later. And the IB is all but unimportant. It just means that they're individually boxed. When you buy 10 locks, there'll be 10 of these boxes. Now, more information down below that further describes the product, which you can review. Inside operation, the vertical slide locks or unlocks the bolt. The outside operation, same operation with the key cylinder. Anti-lift mechanism, meaning that the bolt cannot be pried. Once it's in the thrown or projected position, nothing other than the key or the inside thumb turn can get that to retract. short of destroying the lock in an attempt to break in. The escutcheons, molded ABS resin plastic in a black finish, recesses for fingers, same cutout as the metal version. So a little aside, an aside here, Adams Rite has the 4430/4431 series. They also have the 4189 and the 4190 series. Now the locks are the same thing, except that, two exceptions. On the 4189 or the 4190, these trim plates, they're made of die-cast metal. Some people will have the plastic, and they might upgrade to the metal, or they feel that it's an upgrade. And I can't say that they're certainly wrong in that regard. Metal can be considered more durable than plastic in certain instances. So that line says that it fits the same cutout. You could remove a plastic version, and you can install a metal version. You can replace only the escutcheons and keep your existing lock body. All that is compatible. The templating is the same. The second exception is that if you had a pull handle attached, and the pull handle you would know it because the bolts for it would go right through the two holes here, so there'd be an offset handle. If you had a handle on your door on one or both sides, those handles are not compatible because the templating for the screws that go through the door to the outside escutcheon are not in the same location. So if you were upgrading, you have nothing to worry about in terms of holes from plastic to metal, but if you had slide handles, you have to replace those as well. Reach out to us if you have a need for doing that exactly. Now, how to dissect the part number, therefore how to get to the part number that you might need. There are several links below this video, and there is even a more exhaustive version of this video down below to bring to conclusion this summary video of this particular item. The last thing, other than you've got 4 links other than that video: template, instructions, parts diagram, and how to order deadlocks. Just click on template. That will serve the balance of this video's purposes. Second page, lower left-hand area, you're going to see a legend by which these locks are ordered. Okay, so you immediately can see, which is a reason that I'm partial to Adams Rite, because they make it easy to understand how their lock or naming structure is built. You've got either a 4430, a 4431, or a 4432. The 4430 is the same lock, but there's no key on the outside. It's that simple. A 4431 has a key. A 4432 is a dummy, meaning that if you had a pair of doors, residential application out to a screened-in pool area or a lanai, and they biparted, let's say, one will be a dummy, the other will probably be a 4430 or a 4431. Going on to the next part of the part number is the lock face, and that is specifically this. 00 would be if you had a dummy. So you would have a 44, 00 would only apply to a dummy. The 09 specifically means that there's an 09 and a 10. So 09 and 10. The 09 is radiused. The 10 is squared off. Before ordering it, that's a crucial thing to determine once you know the function. Is that radiused or squared off? If you want it to be in stainless steel, add the S, and it will look exactly like this. If you have it square, order a 10. Moving forward, the second critical thing that you must know, after you know the lock treatment, after you know the function, you have to know how thick the door is. Don't take for granted that you think you know what it is. It's the funniest thing. The 00, 1 to 1 5/16, is the most common, but we sell a lot of these for people who have boats. You see these installed on boats all the time. This is an 05 function where you have a door that is 1 3/8 to 1 5/8 thick. And then the least common is the 08, but that doesn't mean that you don't have an 08 only because it's the least common. You have to measure it to be sure. Eliminate all the guesswork. Then finally, you've got your keying options. This is obviously an 01. It's keyed differently. An 00 would apply only to a dummy or to a 4430. An 01, an 02, or a 50 are going to apply to the 4431. If you're doing 2 of these in your home, you might want to order the 02 version so that both of the locks were keyed alike. That would be convenient. If you were building a condo building, you would possibly want to order KA50, but that's pretty unusual to do that. in a condo building. You're probably going to want to order all of those O1 or KD. An application for a 50, a KA50, would very likely be a large hotel, a resort area where they had countless sliding doors, where they need to have these locked all the time. I've seen this material also installed on ICU type doors in hospitals. That might be an application where you want to have a KA50, but I can't recall if I've ever sold a KA50 version of this. So residential standard stuff, it's going to be O1 or O2, probably O1 if it's keyed. It would be an O1. And then finally, the IB on that part number simply means it's individually boxed, unimportant. So there is a significant amount of additional detail beyond this. What happens with these locks is that if you are replacing, you will call us, and sometimes the client will say, I want a whole new lock. Well, okay, fine, but if not all of it's broken, then don't replace all of it. You can arrive at the individual part numbers for only this, for only this, for only this, for only the screws that hold it all together. So I prefer to approach it from the perspective of, let's find out what you need. If the lock body's not broken, and I bet that it's not, and only what cracked was the interior escutcheon, or maybe just that knob, replace only that. So we can approach it that way, or we can just give the client what they want, a whole new lock, whichever way we go. Knowing the requirements, the thickness of the door, and then the treatment of the lock body is required. You'll have to do that sort of homework. We can help you with the whole new lock body, deriving the entire part number or the individual part numbers, which also are available from a link below this video on the parts diagram. And that's handy, although it's a little confusing. It's a bit esoteric. So if you have questions on that, please feel free to reach out to us. That video is handy because it allows you to see the totality of all available parts for this, the breakdown. And then how to order deadlocks is just more of the same, quite frankly. So my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. If you have any questions on the Adams Rite 4431, 4430, 31, 4189, 4190 series locks, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm partial to Adams Rite. It's not only because they're the only game in town almost when it comes to these sorts of locks, but here's what they are. They have excellent technical support, responsive, that's the crucial part, they respond. They have prompt, reliable shipping lead times. They're an industry standard when it comes to many things, sliding door and aluminum storefront hardware related, whether it's locks, electric strikes, exit devices, other unique pieces of hardware that you'll find. And a lot of their hardware is very adaptable and flexible, and they make available these parts diagrams and parts lists so that you can do the homework on your own if that's the way that you're bent, if you prefer to do it that way, which I am. If you have any questions on this or any other Adams Rite product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.